Hi, my name is Emily Ionelli, and I'm just a transgender girl. And I went out to the movies tonight, and I saw, for the third time, Lion. And the reason why I saw it is because it profoundly impacted me in so many ways. And I am pretty much, I guess you can say, isolated. So for me, movies mean a lot. They allow me to get out and enjoy life, even if I go by myself. I like to go to the movies. I like the mall. Usually I watch a movie. I sometimes buy a dress, get a slice of pizza or Chinese food, and I'm living my life. I'm on disability. I worked 30 years, and I'm just trying to cope. Life is complicated, and we don't always have the answers. But I think it's very important, no matter how lonely or depressed or isolated you are, it's very important to try and find your happiness. For me, I always knew I was different. I had hid my secret. I was a 3-year-old trying on dresses, and I wore dresses basically all my life. So it was very difficult for me growing up because I had this big secret and I could tell no one. And 48 years later, well, at 16, I actually wanted to come out. I wanted to tell my mom and dad, but both my parents had mental illness, so I couldn't tell them. And I think I had struggled with mental illness in addition to my gender dysphoria. But I knew at the age of 16 I was a transsexual after reading Carolyn Cossey's biography. She was a model and she went by the name of Tula. When I read her story, I knew that I was a transsexual, and I wanted to have a sex change operation. And I was 16 at that time. Now I'm 56, so that's 40 years ago that I wanted to have a sex change operation. And now I'm in the process of seeking to have a sex change operation. I'm going to the Mount Sinai Gender Clinic, and I go to Callan Lord for my therapy and my psychiatry, and I go to the Mount Sinai Hospital for my gender dysphoria and hopeful surgery, and I'm hoping that the insurance will cover it. From my conversation with the insurance company, under my wife's plan, if it's declared medically necessary, which I shouldn't have a problem with, they will cover the cost of the surgery, with the exception of a $1,000 deductible. So I'm pretty excited about that, and that really is making me feel better. It is a risky surgery. It is intense. It is painful. But for me, I've always felt it was meant to be. And I really want to have a female body complete with a vagina, a labia, and a clitoris, and I just want to feel like a woman and look like a woman and no longer hide. I've hid all my life, and I think it's about time that I do what I need to do. But I try to occupy my time by going out to movies. I'm lucky, after working 30 years and getting sick and becoming mentally, well, not becoming mentally ill, but finally getting a diagnosis of mental illness, which I kind of knew all along, given my parents' histories and their tragic suicides. My mom in 1990, at the age of 50, she sadly ended her life by dehydrating herself and starving herself in the hospital. She refused fluids and food. My dad, 19 years later, my mom was in 1990 at the age of 50. My dad in 2009, 19 years later, who died really of a broken heart, essentially. When my mom died, tragically took his life by jumping in front of a train, and my dad suffered with mental illness and alcoholism because of the pressures of his job and trying to raise my two sisters and me when my mom was in and out of hospitals for many years before she died. So I got to see firsthand what mental illness is all about. So it is very tragic. I also lost my first cousin to suicide, who sadly couldn't take not seeing his 3 kids when the wife divorced him. And sadly, he went into his pickup truck, reached for his pistol in his glove compartment, and he blew his brains out. So I have had the unfortunate thoughts of committing suicide myself, but I have to be emotionally strong because I have a son who's autistic. He's 18 now, and we both need each other, and I need my wife. My wife is not happy with my transition, so that's why we don't really go out together. She has her sister, her brother, and her sister's 3 children, and her mother living with us. So we have a crowded house, and my son is only home during holidays and school breaks, because he goes to a residential school way upstate, 6 hours away, for his special needs as an autistic child. So I hardly see my son, and I try to get in touch with him on the telephone. Sometimes he's not in the mood to talk, and other times he will talk to me. I feel our relationship is somewhat strained because he can't accept my transition, and he thinks his father's dead. But I always try to make him realize that people are different. Just like my son has autism, I am different too, and I have gender dysphoria, and we can't be blamed for our differences. We are who we are, and I can't change that. You know, God, I tried to live a normal life, but to be honest with you, I don't even know what normal is. All I know is we try to live our life, do the best we can. We try to obey the laws. We try to give all our attention to things important to us. We try to listen to our parents, to authority. If we're fortunate to marry and raise children, we try to do the best that we can and be good examples to our children. And we try to just find peace and happiness in our life. And we won't always have that. We will face sadness and tragedy. And life is filled with ups and downs. We just have to try to ride those ups and downs and do the best that we can. And for me, since I'm not working anymore, I worked 30 years in accounting. I studied engineering and accounting in college. I ran cross country in high school. I was very good in my studies. And I was very shy. I did some traveling with a couple of friends. And then I went to therapy, and I met my future wife through a therapist. And we got married and had our son, Maddie, our only child. And I'm very happy, and I feel very blessed. And I guess I tried my best to control my gender issues, but through tragedy, my dad's suicide, and then 2 years later, my best friend who helped me cope through my dad's suicide, dying at 40 in his sleep. I think he had sleep apnea, but he wasn't overweight, and he left behind a beautiful wife and baby girl. And when I went to his wake, I was just so heartbroken. I was trying to calm down the wife, but I was being calmed by her because I felt so heartbroken. And going to his wake made me realize that life is not a guarantee. And then I started to think, you know, I struggled all my life. I have this secret, and I can no longer bear to hide it anymore. So I talked to a therapist, and after telling her all my sad stories, I eventually came to tell her about my feelings of being a girl. And she referred me to a clinic in the New York City area that caters to the LGBT community. And that's where I started to get treatment for my gender dysphoria. Callan Lord, Dr. Juliet Widoff, who said she asked me why I was there. I went there in a men's suit, but underneath I had a dress on. She had to do some, I guess, chest x-rays and stuff. Check my heartbeat. Not chest x-rays, I mean, you know, check my vitals and my heartbeat and all that stuff. So when she told me to take my suit jacket off and my shirt, she saw my dress, and I told her, yeah, I feel that I'm transgender and I want to be a woman. And she said, relax, honey, it's okay. We'll help you. And I asked her if I could go on hormones. And she said, we'll talk about that in 3 months. So I went back to see her in a couple of weeks, and she was, you know, checking my blood. And then in 3 months, true to her word, she had me fill out papers to give my informed consent. And then she started me on hormones. I started taking estradiol and spironolactone, and I've been on hormones for 5 years now. And I feel such a change. Those hormones really worked. I feel very feminine, even in my facial features. And according to the doctor, the hormones change your body chemistry from essentially a male hormone. Now I'm more female hormones balance. I have a female hormone balance now, which is helping me in feminizing my body. And if I have the sex change operation, I will no longer have to worry about the testosterone. And I will have vaginal construction. And if I put on a woman's bathing suit or a dress after the surgery, you would never know that I was once a boy. I would look just like one of the other girls. So that's what I'm looking for. And to help me survive, I'm on Social Security disability, Medicare, and my wife's health care insurance. And I go to movies, I go to my doctors, I go to my support group, and I go shopping for female clothing when I can. I am living on a tight budget since I'm paying the mortgage and all the bills, but every now and then I feel the need to treat myself. I am very much into clothes, especially dresses, and I enjoy expressing my femininity. I love hair bows, I love dresses, I love shoes, Mary Janes. I love getting my hair styled. I'm not really into the makeup scene, but I do like to go get my nails done and maybe experiment a little bit with makeup, but I probably would need to go to someone to help me do that. So anyway, this is Emily, and I just want to let everybody know that I love you all, and I am very appreciative of your support. And I will try to be strong, even though at times it's not so easy. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.